Our lesson today is titled Against Worldliness. In today's Gospel, where Jesus said to his disciples, "If the world hates you, realize that it hated me first. If you belong to the world would love its own. But because you do not belong to the world, and I have chosen you out of the world hates you." Jesus often speaks about the world and about hatred against him and his disciples. He asks the Father not to remove the disciples from the world, but to defend them from the spirit of the world. This worldliness that is capable of hating and destroying Jesus, his disciples, apostles, and even corrupting the church. This worldliness is present to the present day, murdering the priests, ministers, holy women, and all religious, as well as those of the West that are simply people of faith, but are not proselytizing, not preaching, but merely being witness to their faith by living as Christians and giving of themselves to others in service. For this, they will die. Worldliness is a proposal of life. It is a culture of the ephemeral, of appearance, of cosmetic makeup with superficial values. It is a culture that knows no fidelity because it changes according to circumstances. Like a chameleon, it negotiates everything. It is this worldliness that Jesus, in his prayer, asks the Father to defend us. Worldliness is a throwaway culture that goes according to convenience. It is also a way of life for many who call themselves Christians, but are actually worldly. They are Christians in name only. The concerns of the world drowned out the faith. The renowned 20th century Jesuit theologian, Father Henri de Lubac, who described worldliness as the worst of evils afflicting the church. Spiritual worldliness is a way of living Christianity that kills because it hates faith. Worldliness enters everywhere, even in the church. Look to martyrs who are killed for hatred of the faith. I warn you against the mistake of regarding spiritual worldliness as something superficial, as it has very deep roots. Recall St. Paul's speech at the Areopagus in Athens, where he drew attention to the temple of the unknown God. This will be one of our readings, I believe, on Wednesday. And he began preaching the gospel. But when he arrived at the cross and resurrection, they were scandalized, and all the Athenians left. The one thing that worldliness cannot tolerate is the scandal of the cross. The only medicine against worldliness is Christ, who died and rose for us. Victory against the world is faith in Jesus. The foolishness of the cross and the victory of Christ is our victory too, which is what St. John wrote in the first letter of John. The world hates Jesus, and he prays to the Father to defend us from the spirit of the world. However, faith does not mean being fanatical or not dialoguing with others. All Christians, all of the faithful, must ask the Holy Spirit for the grace to be able to discern between worldliness and the gospel, so as not to be deceived. And again ask for the strength and grace from God, so to stand against the tide of worldliness that enters our home, tries to enter our families and our lives. Faith should not be a matter ever of convenience, such as, oh well, let's see, I think I can get to church in between Pilates and oh, there's that cycling class, just I can go right there. That's not faith. That is merely stupidity.